Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Unfortunately, today we have a bit of a serious topic because I believe that I have found one of the biggest cheating scandals in the history of Smash Ultimate, and unfortunately it is going to be coming after one of the top players, if not the top player in the current state of the game, and that is sonix. Today, I will be showing you conclusive evidence that sonix has used his money, power, and connections in the scene to get his way to the top. Like Dream, but like with his speedrunning, not with the kit. Maybe that was a bad example. Like Lance Armstrong, somebody who's already at the top of their game, but willing to take those extra steps of deceit to become the best. So before we start throwing out the heavy accusations, we have to talk about sonix's career, and it's important to establish that sonix is still a very talented player, but he's just maybe taken a couple shortcuts to reach the level that he is at today, and he's got 4 major wins under his belt, including a win at CEO, a win at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, a win at Gommel, and a win at Coinbox IRL. He hasn't missed a grand finals at an event since SmashCon 2023. He's run $200,000 from Coinbox, estimated roughly, we don't know the exact number because of taxes, but somewhere plus or minus 10k, and he's also the only Sonic player at the top level of Smash Ultimate. And I've been hearing about this guy called Ken. I've never seen him play, but you're trying to tell me the guy called Ken plays Sonic? Like, come on. And sonix didn't even play Smash Ultimate until the quarantine era of the game started. I don't even know if he knew the game existed. And as you can see from his first result, he does pick up a top 8 at the Soak Series Invitational. So clearly a very talented player, but that doesn't mean that some of his maybe methods of getting to the top are unethical. And since nobody plays Sonic at the top level aside from sonix, a lot of the common knowledge about this character is just simply unknown, and everyone is willing to take sonic's word for it. Like, I can guarantee a majority of the people watching this video can't tell the difference between these moves, and luckily I've scouted them out for you. This is down B, neutral B, and side B, but people just don't know the intricacies of this character, and because of that, you have sonix getting away with things that he probably shouldn't. So look at this clip right here. We have Genesis X Losers Finals, Spargo versus sonix, and it just looks normal. Everything is fine and dandy. He's winning in the advantage state. And then that happens. Now, for most people, doesn't really matter. Lots of characters in Smash Ultimate have spikes, and Cora didn't have a jump. Of course she's going to die early. But if you've actually played Sonic and you've taken the time to do your research on this character, you will know that his down air does not have a spike hitbox. I'll show you some footage right here. You can clearly see the down air is not spiking, and I have 2 theories of how sonix was able to pull this off. The first one is voodoo magic, and I'm not super confident in that theory, so we're going to shelve that one, but the one that I am fairly confident in is sonix has access to devs. We've known this for a couple of years now, that he's very good friends with a couple people that have made Smash Ultimate, and because of that, I believe that sonix has slowly gotten his character buffed without anyone noticing. And history sides with me on this one, because if you look at the early tier lists from Smash Ultimate, they're all going to have Sonic in the bottom tier or somewhere in the lower mid tier, and that's because the character just frankly was not very good. And he did receive a couple buffs during the normal patching phase of Smash Ultimate, but none of them were significant enough to bring him to that current top 2 status that he holds today. So how did Sonic rise so much on the tier list? I'll tell you how. You know when Smash Ultimate gets those little patches and they add a couple spirits, maybe they update it for an amiibo? That's not all that they're doing. They are silently buffing Sonic in every single one of those patches, and sonix, the marionette that he is controlling how he wants his character to be adjusted, whether it be a slight buff to F Smash's hitbox, or maybe you make down B a little bit stronger. All of these things add up slowly over time to bring you this now behemoth character that just wasn't like that when the game first came out. And if you somehow don't believe me for those reasons because there's no real proof, then don't worry. I wouldn't make a whole video if that's all I had to go off of. This is just the icing on top of the cake. And I mentioned earlier how sonix hasn't missed a grand finals since SmashCon 2023, and that trend started when he got picked up by his new team, Luminosity Gaming, and one of the members on that team is definitely helping him out. And that player is unfortunately going to be the GOAT of Smash Ultimate, MKLeo. You look at the second that Sonix joins his team, he gets a 13th at LMM, 17th at Port Priority. Those are some of MKLeo's worst results ever in Smash Ultimate. And conveniently at those same events, Sonix gets a second place at LMM and a first place at Port Priority. And prior to that, was Sonix even good? Like, ignore that Gom result, don't look at that one. But the SmashCon, he gets 25th. Like, he's not even that good of a player before he joined Luminosity, makes moves. All of the sudden, he's getting second place in majors. He's winning major events. So the only logical conclusion is that MKLeo is talking to him and he is coaching him through the tournament. That's why he's taking a dive to go out early in the tournament. It's basically the plot of Cars 3. He's helping out the new prodigy to the team, but he's doing it with illegal methods. Now, I'm not 100% sure on how Sonix and MKLeo are communicating, whether they have an earpiece or they're using a certain chess strategy or just something in general, maybe Morse code from the crowd. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'm very confident that some colluding is going on between those two. And that team that MKLeo and Sonix are both on, Luminosity Gaming, they rebranded in 2014, 2015, I don't remember the exact year, and most of you probably don't know this because you weren't super big into esports, but before they were called Luminosity Gaming, they were called the Liars Guild. And it's not just MKLeo on Luminosity helping Sonix out. You look at his record versus Meister, another fellow teammate. He has beaten Meister the last 7 times in a row. You're telling me a guy that didn't even play Smash Ultimate when Meister was already the best Game & Watch in America has a 7-0 record on him in their last encounters. It just seems a little fishy to me. And before people just say I'm jealous of Sonix because of how talented and handsome he is, I mean, obviously, that's not the reason. That's obviously not it. And if you somehow still aren't convinced that Sonix has cheated his way to the top, then this is unfortunately going to be the nail in the coffin. You look at Sonix getting his win over Spargo at Coinbox IRL. Everything's pretty normal. Pretty good set overall. But then you see that frame right there. And if you look very closely, most people probably didn't notice this, you're going to see Sonix handing Spargo an $100 bill. And that is why Sonix has had so much success at the top, is because he's buying his way to the top. And I wish I could tell you that was the only example, but unfortunately, it's not. When Light and Sonix play at MomoCon, the first ever time that Sonix has beaten Light, and the only time he's beaten Light, when he goes in for the handshake of this historic moment, the camera conveniently cuts away to the crowd, not showing the viewers at home the transaction that just took place. And luckily for the righteous, Light is a God-fearing American, and he realizes the sins that he has committed, so he does end up beating Sonix in the grand final to repent for what he has done, but it still sets the precedent that Sonix is getting away with paying other top players for the dub. And you might be like, how does Sonix have all that money to pay off all of those players? And then I remind you, the $200,000 that he has made from Coinbox. He is rolling in the dough and using it to control the scene. Sonix also notoriously uses pine tar on his controllers, even though that's been banned since 2011, and you have evidence of this by Mia using a towel after he shakes Sonic's hand, getting all of that sticky pine tar off his hands respectively, and it's just another way that Sonix is giving himself a slight edge over the competition. And if you somehow still don't believe me, just look at Sonic's name. It's an anagram for so obviously nefarious it hurts. And I don't know why he spelled it with an X instead of an H. I didn't name the guy. Don't get mad at me. And need I remind you that his sponsor is the Liars Guild? The only event that Sonix actually won was CEO. He did that one fair and square. But the rest don't count. And you may be asking, Proof Block, if it's so obvious that Sonix is cheating, why are none of the other top players kind of calling him out for it? And I have 2 theories for this. So the first one's just going to be that everyone's kind of in on it already, as you've seen for the players that he's been buying out. And the second one's going to be that they're probably just scared of him, considering that Sonix does have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. No one really has the confidence of going up to him and saying what you're doing is wrong. But I know what he's doing is wrong, and I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm so brave for making this video. And you might ask, if the pros aren't calling Sonix out because they're being bought off, how come the viewers aren't calling him out? And that's just because nobody really knows what Sonic does, as I established earlier, and nobody's watching the games that Sonix has played. If you look at this graph right here, you could see, on average, only 180 people are watching games when Sonix is on screen, and I assume 179 of them are from Dominican Republic, and the other one is me, and I'm the only one who's figuring it out. And I'm just going to unload all the evidence I have left on you now. Here's a picture of Sonic shaking hands with Reggie after confirming that Sonic will get silent buffed in every single patch. Here's one of him praying to whatever demon gave him his power. Here are a bunch more pictures of him just paying off various pros. And just the other day, sonix tweeted this, like, he's not even hiding it anymore. He's gotten so cocky that he's just telling people blatantly, and for some reason, no one's picking up on it. So there you have it. Unarguable evidence that sonix has cheated his way to the top of Smash Ultimate, and it's honestly a quite sad scene. He was already one of the best players in the world, and given a little bit more time, he probably could have become the best legit, but he took shortcuts, he cheated his way to the top, and this video is going to be his downfall. And sonix, if you see this, it's not too late to stop. You're still good. You could still go back on your ways and do it legit. I know that you can. And that's it. Bye.